If you don't mind, I was going to jump back to the point that we first met, right?
Yep.
As you mentioned, kind of your personal financial situation, if you wouldn't mind, and then maybe some of the advice that you were getting at the time. You alluded to that. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember any of those examples, but maybe give our listeners an overview of where you were and some of the bad advice you were getting at the time.
Yeah, for sure. The bad advice number one is items that are in the stock market are safe and secure, right? If you look at this trajectory, you look at this 30-year graph, you look at whatever, you can see that it always goes up, right, over time. And unfortunately, a lot of people I know personally, who were planning on retiring in 2007, 2008, 2009, saw their retirement secure, their safe, secure retirement cut in half, and now all of a sudden that retirement is gone. And that's why I say I love Dave Ramsey, love the ideas that he puts forth, and the caution and the help that he provides to people, and definitely a valuable service. But to preach that you can put all of your eggs in the basket of safe, secure mutual funds and everything will be all right in 30 years or 50 years, and completely ignoring the fact that you have to, you're essentially have to time your retirement with the market and hope you have another 10 years to pull back out of that, is, I think it's damaging, and it's something we need to be careful of and educate ourselves on. Another bit of bad advice that we followed uh, was, hey, real estate, your house, right? Your house is an investment. uh, I don't know about you guys, but my primary residence has never once cut me a check for anything. So it's not an investment. It is an, excuse me, it's not an asset. It's not an investment. It is for somebody else. It is for the bank,
Yeah.
but it's not for you. And to to have had that information to begin with was a little damaging to our financial mindset and practices. And then just the idea, yeah, that, oh, it'll, not only is it an asset, but it's always going to go up in value. Same thing. We see people, um, one after another, just using their house like an ATM, and assuming that money's always going to be able to be pulled out, and it does a lot of damage to our economy, as far as a nation as a whole, but also to individual family economies, where people end up in a bad spot. And that's where I lean further away on the investment and on the personal finance side, where I would lean the other way, away from a Kiyosaki type standpoint, where the preaching of the more debt you have, the that's a sign of your wealth. And I'm just I where I find myself somewhere in the middle is, you can't. Yes, passive income, cash flow is fantastic, but you can't pay for that peace of mind that debt freedom has. That the debt freedom offers you. And with for example, with this first slow flip house, the idea that it is free and clear and there's not a penny owed on it, and yet it's still a passive option for income for us, is like nothing else I've ever experienced. So it really just locks away a lot of those um, bad bits of advice that we were taught early on. Um, the idea of, well, everybody's going to be in debt. Well, you always finance a car. Everybody does it. Just really took a lot of the old thinking that I was schooled with from the time I was a kid, until my mid to late 20s or whatever. I'm losing track of the dates now. But just kind of put them all away. Gave solid fact-based answers to why we were experiencing a lot of the problems that we were having, and gave us hope and a roadmap for the future. So then by the time you and I met, and the infinite banking thing came in, it was really like a missing piece to the puzzle, that like an engine we could strap onto this car we were building, that helps it just get turbocharged and get down the track. So it really was a perfect fit, and I think God orchestrated it all for a perfect timing in the Jasper household, for sure.
Now, Jason, where were you getting your financial advice at that time?
From paid, a lot of it from paid financial advisors. surprisingly, or not surprisingly, I guess. The folks that were supposed to be the experts, but as I come to grow and study finances and learn, these guys are getting they're getting paid whether or not your account does well or not, right? They're getting paid for initial deposits. They're getting paid
Hmm.
monthly kickbacks on an um, overall bucket. And really, when you look at some of those guys, look at the fruit on the tree. Some of these guys are busting their butt trying to work just like we are, and they don't have financial security themselves. And it was really fun when you walk into one of these guys' offices, and I'm 10 to 15 years his senior, and he's schooling me on the long term. This is what's going to happen. This is what happens with the market, and it always goes up. And I'm like, man, it's heartbreaking that you don't know what you don't know. And as the saying goes, some of what you do know just isn't so, right. You
Hmm.
have to get right information from people who have the fruit on the tree, which is what I've been really. And I'm not perfect, and I'm sure that I've got a lot of misconceptions, a lot of preconceived notions of how things work, or the best way to do A, B, and C. But I'm really trying to educate myself, as well as our children and anyone who we help with their finances, on that whole fruit on the tree principle. Go to somebody who has the results you want, and then copy exactly what they did. Don't worry about what you believe used to work over here. You need results. What actually does work, and then a roadmap that you can put into play based on those results.
Well, Jason, one thing I'm hearing is that you should get advice from people that have been successful from what you're doing,
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
from what you want. Typical financial planners are really great salesmen. I mean, I'm not so worried about, we all need to get paid, but like, we look at what they're telling you to do and the advice they're giving you when they don't have much track record. And Jason, when you had I saw that when you had mentioned about your kids getting involved, like, I could see you lighten up, right?
Yeah,
And
sure.
as a proud father. But I'm curious, if you would have followed the advice you had gotten from the typical financial planners, do you think you'd be would your kids have been involved as they are now?
I definitely don't think so. My girls were born in '03 and '06,
Mm-hmm.
and right after that, everything, our whole financial house of cards came tumbling down. So it was a time where I'm like, I don't even know, what's going to happen going forward. And if we had not, and I really do look back and give all the credit and glory to the Lord for that time. The timing exactly was when that whole thing fell, and all of a sudden I wasn't the smartest guy in the room anymore financially, and I all of a sudden knew that I needed help. We were introduced to a leadership training system that really focused on true, proper biblical finances, not just, again, from a stay out of debt and sit and huddle in my house realm, and not from a finance everything to the moon, because that's how you build wealth, but somewhere in the middle that taught aversion to debt, and actually becoming free, not only becoming debt free, but becoming wealthy, where your income isn't based on the work that you do, but you're able to leverage yourself out there. You're able to plug into the right information, the right systems, the right teams, and move forward. So to answer that question, yeah, my girls were really young at the time that we had a lot of these issues, and thankfully, immediately after those issues, we were led to the people who had the results, and we were able to, from them being very young, educate them and school them on proper finances. And my youngest, she's always we always did it whenever they got money coming in from doing odds and ends, extra chores, extra whatever, little jobs for other people around the church and the neighborhood. We sat them down with a budget immediately. It was there, 10%. is the Lord's. That belongs to His, the first fruits of all of our increase. And then we had a strong recommendation of, after that 10%, you're going to take 40% and you're going to put it in a long-term savings account. And that is your asset building account. You're only going to use this isn't to buy a car. This isn't to buy, nail polish or anything else, you might want down the road. Is that news to you guys? I'm not.
No,
That's
camera. I'm just letting the camera's like, oh,
He's got a joke in there.
no
yeah.
nail polish.
Yeah.
I had a feeling it was coming with that look, but yeah, but it's not to buy fun stuff. It's not to buy cars. It's not to buy anything else. It is strictly to buy assets that will cash flow to you, that will pay you back. And so even to this day, my youngest works for Hobby Lobby, and she started balancing her own books and stuff like that when she started getting a real paycheck coming in.
Mhm.
And to this day, she still holds to that model. She does her tithe of 10%, and then both of my girls have a little extra um, giving savings account or whatever. So if they see extra needs in the church or around the community, they want to tuck away so they have the money to be a blessing when they're called upon to be a blessing. But then also she takes that 40% still to this day. She's got a car, she's got insurance, she's got a cell phone. She got to pay for gas. We don't pay for anything. This is real life. She's a grown up. She needs to handle it. But even with all of that stuff, she takes 40% of her income and tosses it into an investment account. And with that, she funds her life insurance policy, and
Mhm.
she is stacking and buying houses with us and land. And
You want to see the entire episode? Click here. If you want to learn how investors use infinite banking to increase their returns and lower their taxes, click here. If you want to see if infinite banking is for you and you have some questions, hop on a discovery call with us and one of our coaches. The link for that will be in the description.